Hi, it's Joy and today you're watching The Dragon Prince, Season 4, Chapter 4, Through the Looking Glass, which I do not like because Aravos is through the looking glass and I'm stressed for Callum and everything is stressful. Thank you so much, Albert, for sponsoring this show. Let's just get straight back into it. Let's go.
The staff of Zeod has been stolen.
Yep.
The fallen star has returned.
So did the Fallen Star, does that mean Viren or does that mean Aravos? I thought it meant Aravos. Do they not know about Viren? Do they just sort of assume that this is entirely Aravos' doing, which it is, just Viren and Claudia are currently his pawns. Sweet baby boy, it's gonna be okay. I won't let anyone hurt you.
Well, maybe you might know that if you'd been here the past 2 years.
Callum.
What? She would?
If the fallen star's a danger the whole world will face, this is a chance to solve our
Exactly, we
problems
should
together.
unite together.
Young king,
Zim, where'd you go? He was just here.
Oh, is he scared?
He's been so willful lately. Zim, I know you can
Troublesome
hear me.
twos.
It's time.
He hasn't gone far. I'll find him and bring him back.
He will. Zim doesn't want to go and he's scared. Yes, your daughter hasn't totally lost herself.
Pass the spell to open the chrysalis.
You've got to stop her, Viren, if you have even a shred of sense in your thick skull.
Fire! Fire! No open flames! The whole camp will catch fire!
Oh. Their lives are so different from what they used to be. Oh.
It's okay. You have to go home with your mom.
Their bond could never be broken.
I wish there was a way we could combine our strength and purpose and face this together.
There will be.
Maybe there is a way. Go with her.
But Catullus needs me.
The world needs you right now.
And you are
The High
12.
Council can take
I
care
don't know
of the
how old he
people,
is,
I
but
promise
you have built, in your short reign, my sweet young boy, you have built a beautiful
right.
kingdom full of strong
Kingdom will
people.
be in good hands. Are you sure about this? Brown sludge?
Is it chocolate?
This isn't going to be like that weird bread you made that only Bait liked.
Bait is gonna eat the whole box.
You mean Grumpernickel?
Oh, they're staying.
Rayla, what are you waiting for?
I didn't know if...
Oh no, good. Okay, good. I genuinely was like gonna talk about how sad I was that they were staying, but I love that just like that Soren holding Bait and Callum, they're all just like, we're getting on this red dragon and we're flying because you. I love this team so
You
much, and of
wanted me to
course
come.
they want you, Rayla.
We need you to come. Climb on
Mhm.
up.
Oh, I love my little team. I mean, the people that came to this dragon celebration
One quick stop first.
will
I just
have.
said the fallen star. I have something that might be important. It's
Oh,
a
you
mirror.
do, sweet boy.
Soren, I need your help.
And I built half of it with my own hands. Open flames are off limits.
I know.
Mother passed away today. This is her spirit flame. It has to burn through the night so that at dawn her spirit can return to the light of the sun.
I feel like maybe when we made the camp, the Sun Elf, I think that if I'm calling them something that's not their name, I'm very sorry about that. The Queen and like her council or whatever should have put aside an area that would be designated for like religious things that required a flame. You know, a big open space where anybody that wanted to go and have a moment to be close with their gods or the element or however they worship. Because it is wrong to deny this guy the chance to send his mother's soul onto the other side. But at the same time, it is so dangerous to have an open flame with all these tents.
Nothing gets... No! We can't endanger everyone's lives because of your... superstition.
Okay, she needs to be far more understanding than that. Like, yes, you might have to put your foot down, say we'll move the flame, you know, come up with all sorts of things, but you don't get to talk down to somebody like that, especially not the night his mother died. Humans and
There it
elves.
is. I think this mirror is connected somehow to
So
the
do
evil
I, and they're
returning to
watching
the
you, and
world.
can we cover it
We
up,
need to bring
please?
it with us to the storm spot.
Come on, Zoran. Use those muscles for something.
Soren's got a primal source of his own.
Doesn't go anywhere without that.
Oh, hold on! We almost left Bait.
But the best thing is, I was literally thinking, where is Bait? And getting concerned. But then I was like, oh, obviously they haven't forgot Bait.
Ah, Bait, you're the best.
He got Callum his scarf.
Okay, ready
Bait went for Callum's scarf. I am
now.
emotionally stable. It's fine.
As the conflict swirled and escalated towards inevitable violence, the great leader of the Sunfire Elves, Queen Aditi,
They were
stepped in to broker peace.
definitely can
The
see where they
Archdragons
targeted the
trusted
Sun
this
Elves.
wise and kind leader. A young human girl uncovered a great secret of history. A dangerous
Always been
deceiver was revealed.
connections.
Erebos had been pulling invisible strings like
Sounds
a puppet
like him.
master. Every great crime, but in each case, it was secretly Erebos.
Exactly what happened last 2 years ago. Yep, and it's still happening now. Oh, this poor boy needs to get out now while he can.
I'm sorry. I killed someone.
You should be able to talk to Claudia about this.
In Claudia's life, I had no choice.
The fact that you feel this means
So much.
you were good, but you were gonna lose that.
She's just
Ready to do anything to protect my family. However dangerous, however vile.
It's not a good thing, sir.
But you may perform acts so unforgivable. You
Yes.
will never forgive yourself.
If the acts get too unforgivable, you should stop.
how do I live with
Put the flame out.
Someone else should speak up for why this is important.
I can't.
For you.
No one has the right to be this insensitive.
What was that?
Nothing good.
Smoke.
You shouldn't be that insensitive. If you have to put it out, we could all very carefully move it to somewhere outside of the encampment. I really do think realistically they would have had an area, if they knew that people would want to do things like this, an area put aside specifically for that. And, you know, maybe if there's some sort of conflict where it has to be burnt close to where the people like died or whatever, but he lost control because you disrespected his mother.
Erebos was able to give them something they wanted very badly.
Just like
Erebos chose as
Viren.
his instruments people who had strong minds and strong hearts,
Oh no.
but who had an insatiable thirst and fascination
Sweetheart, don't look in the mirror.
with magic.
Yes,
Erebos could
we have
offer
one of those.
At the exact right moment, he would lower his guard, and we could imprison him forever.
Not forever.
A magical prison was created. No one knows where it is. Each of the archdragons had a clue, a piece of the puzzle.
The
But
mirror.
not one of them had the... And make sure he remained trapped and helpless.
The mirror your brother has.
The Storm Spire. We're here.
I really thought that she was standing up because she'd remembered she'd seen a mirror like that in Callum's room, but I suppose she didn't immediately. Oh. I know, my love. He was family. He needed that. They brought the mirror with them. Worry about our mage.
To an identical mirror within the magical prison.
So he can see us
No
too.
light reflects off its
Come on, sleepyheads, it's dawn! And
How has
that
no one
means
murdered her
it's
yet?
battle time. So get ready.
Stay afraid, please. You're better off right now
The
counselling your
sun's
daughter to
coming
just
up.
walk away from all of
It
this and
won't
go
be
and find her
dark enough
life.
to see through the mirror. It's working.
Zim loves it.
I am a storm dragon.
Are they going to watch him escape through the cocoon? Stay strong, Mr. Mage. If you're recognising that magic brought you nothing but pain, you have to stop her. Claudia has fully lost herself to this dark magic. Sad to see. Oh my god! What the fuck? How is he doing this? Oh my god, what is he possessing him? Oh my god. How is he? Is this because of Claudia he's this powerful? Just stab Claudia in the back, okay? Just like we stabbed the other mage. Ezrin, stay back. It's not your brother right now.
Zubair. So these are the champions
The
you've
mirroring
gathered to
in the
try
mirror.
and stop me? In over his head, and he knows it.
They're delightful children, thank you very much.
The failed son. whose
He is the
father
greatest
wishes he
achievement of
never
his father's
grew up.
life.
Ouch.
Bait being like, I got you, brother. I got you. That was harsh. They knew this was getting dark, and they were like, have a moment of sunshine. But he didn't really break through the darkness. It just was there in the darkness. Okay, Soren. I had my doubts about him way back when, but he is the best accident of his father's life, because if his father had been able to raise him, his attempts to raise him had worked, that Soren is a good person, and that stayed true regardless of everything else that happened, regardless of all the mess his father put him through. And the same cannot be said for his sister. We know that, Soren. Bait knows that, Soren. Even that little dude knows that. You stay strong.
And my favorite.
His little smile back.
Human maid. Oh, my time has come.
Oh god. Or is it him? I think they're getting a lot more than they bargained for. What is that?
Oh, Callum.
Yeah. Fuck. He has got more powerful. I am all for not just casually murdering people, even criminals. Like, I think they should go to prison and not be murdered. But at the same time, in the 1,000 years, however long it's been that Aravos has been locked away, did nobody think, why don't we dedicate ourselves to figuring out that if A, this ever happens again with somebody else, or B, if he ever escapes, a way to stop him for good, or, you know, put him to sleep, or do something. Because locking him up in a little room where all he can do, all he has, like, there is nothing else really for him to do but fantasize about ways of getting out, get more powerful, figure out ways, loopholes and things. It was obvious that he was going to escape. It's not like he was unconscious or they thought he was dead or anything. I understand that they thought that they put him in this unbreakable cage, but please tell me that in the next episode our lovely Dragon Queen is going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, no, we do have a plan B, and even if plan B doesn't work, that's fine. I just need her to turn around and be like, yeah, we had this, because but I did love seeing what happened back then, and I love the kind of art style that they did it in, because obviously this is already like an animated cartoony type of design, but they differentiated from that enough. Like, it was just really, really well done. I want to watch that story. I want to know about that. Who was this human girl who found out about this? You know, even you kind of think now it is such a difficult struggle, and we're seeing that in the Sun Camp, which I will come to have this peace between humans and elves. But to think that even back then a human played such a key role in the Zadian story is very, very interesting. It shows you that the two sides have not always been separate or different, and that maybe there were chances in the past that things could have got to a better place, which then makes it terrifying that this could once again be another failed attempt to get things to a better place, while at the same time things are different this time. I'm glad they all went together. I think, yes, it is dangerous. I do also feel like maybe Catullus should have sent a few more people with them, like a few more guards, more just because Ezrin is the literal child. Has he got a will with like an heir in it if he dies? And if that heir is Callum, is there one for after Callum? You know, like, obviously our precious children are going to be fine, but thinking about the future security of Catullus, if you heard, oh yeah, our king and his brother just rode off on some dragons with some friends, you would be a little bit concerned. But regardless of that, the fact that they've all gone together I think is so important, because we really are trying to bring this age of peace and of prosperity and of common, I was going to say common humanity, but you're not all humans, but you know what I mean, companionship, everyone working together with Zadia and the human kingdoms. And that can't work if whenever there's a problem, walls go up and we deal with it ourselves. We should always be helping. And you know, that's something that I would much rather have in the real world is not the UK leaving the EU and being like, we're an island, but instead for the whole world to reach out and help each other and to be there for each other, to be part of a global society rather than simply, you know, nationalistic nonsense. But so that's, I love that they went with them, that we're going to try and work together, and I'm sure if it comes down to a battle or whatever the plan is and resources need to be pulled, if they need to like flee Zadia, if they need to flee Catullus, we will all come together at this time around like we did at the end of the last seasons, and I absolutely love that. I would like to kind of check in with some of the other human kingdoms as well, and to check in with some of the other elven kingdoms. We've already seen that one of those elven kingdoms has just had a casual little convert to the cult of Aravos, whether he knows it or not, because he's in love with Claudia. I do feel very sorry for Tree Boy. I know his name, but I don't know it right now, if that makes sense. My brain fog is like, no, that boy, he's called a Tree Boy. Because he genuinely seems like a sweet enough soul, and I think he probably was attracted to, initially, Claudia's goofy, sweet side. The kind side that we see a lot, and that is often the side she presents to the world. He has also seen her darker side, and, you know, she's not hidden that from him. He is not put off by that, which obviously is a warning sign. The longer he stays with them, the more he is going to lose himself, and it's kind of like watching a repeat of Claudia last season. And wasn't just one season, of Claudia in the previous seasons, where you watched her make more and more and more choices that crossed her, the more her moral line was here, and then she moved it and she moved it and she moved it. More and more of justifying, of seeing, oh, my dad did just do something terrible, but he had a good reason for it. And I feel like this kid is doing the exact same thing for his love of Claudia. That I think it's going to be interesting to see if he just loses himself, or if he snaps, or if ultimately Arvos is going to be like, yeah, I let you keep him around for a reason, you need to sacrifice a living being to do this spell, there's a living being. And what would Claudia do? Like, if the only way to save her father is to sacrifice Tree Boy because it needs a whole lifespan or something, what would Claudia do? And I don't think it would look good for Tree Boy. Perhaps the most interesting thing for me with that plotline is currently Viren, because he is, I love that we're seeing him really feel the effects of dying, of his master plan failing, of falling and plummeting to his death, of finding out that he has been a dead, decomposing, or barely, like, or maybe he was naturally held together, I don't remember, but a dead body for 2 years. The world has moved on without him, and his daughter, he's watching as she gives up her soul to save him, and he knows what it's like to give up your soul to dark magic. I don't think it's necessarily a problem for him. Maybe he is questioning his use of dark magic, and that is what I would really love to see in this season, is Viren coming to understand that he was used by Aravos, and that he, in a way, he was used just like all the mages before him, with his eyes open. He knew it was happening, but he just liked what he was getting out of it, so he thought it was fine. I know he's using me, I'm smarter than him, I'm as smart as him, it's all going to be fine. And to now see his daughter in the exact same position, is that going to snap him out of it? But then moments like when the boy was crying and he was like, just grow up, or like, she didn't say grow up, he's like, just deal with it, whatever. That suggests that the Viren we've previously seen is there, and that maybe how he's acting now is simply a trauma response, and maybe he will begin to become more and more evil Viren as time goes on. I do think, and I have always thought, that if it were to come down to it, if Aravos, I mean, was Aravos just standing out there, or was that like a minion? I don't entirely know. But if Aravos were to be completely free and at full power, Viren would not like being subservient to him, and there is no universe in which Aravos would be okay with Viren being anything else. So they are being annoyingly successful, and I'm intrigued to see where it all goes and how Viren's character goes. I'm extremely disappointed in Claudia. I understand, I mean, I understand the concept of her father died and she was devastated and she wanted to do anything to save him. But her soul is not worth that. And when she has seen firsthand the proof that her father is not the man she thought he was, and that he is not a good person, her brother, who you would jokingly have said at the beginning, he was the thick one. He was the one that would just do whatever dad said because he doesn't have a brain of his own. He is the one that looked at the situation and said, I want no part of this. I am out. And yes, she was hurt that he was leaving her, but at no point did she think, well, I choose my brother. He has always been there for me. He has never asked more of me than I could give. I worry about Claudia, but the more time goes on and the more terrible things she does, the less I worry about her and the more I worry about what she's going to do to other people. Similarly, I am beginning to worry about Callum. Now, I'm not currently worried about Callum in the Claudia way, but obviously we know that he targets mages. We know Callum has spent a lot of time with the mirror. I'm assuming because of Claudia's actions and time and loopholes that he's been finding, maybe even the spell thing that Viren did with him way back when, that Aravos is getting more powerful than he was before. But the ease with which he was able to reach through that looking glass and take over Callum. suggests that Callum, he and the words he said about Callum as well. He has made a connection with Callum. He is wanting to use this boy and this boy's hunger for magic and for knowledge, and it doesn't matter to him who he is and how good he is. So I'm stressed about that because I don't believe Callum would be like, oh yeah, I want to be more powerful, I'll do whatever you say. That isn't who Callum is. But I do think if he is slow and insidious manipulations, maybe sounding like the thoughts in the back of your head, maybe if there is a situation where it's like, oh my god, Ezran is going to die and I don't know the magic to fix this, and then Aravos says, oh, if you do what I say, Ezran will be safe, Callum could be weak to that because it's goodness. It's not coming from a place of pride or evil or personal desire for power. So I am worried about that because we know he targets mages, and I imagine throughout history there will have been those who, like Viren, who were very easily tempted to the dark side, and then there will be others who genuinely thought they were doing good. Now, yes, Callum is aware now, which is my biggest thing, because when he was looking at that mirror and he had no idea, I was very stressed that like it would happen before he could know anything about it. But you know, this is someone we should not take lightly, and I'm very stressed about it. Then we have the Sun Elf camp, and we've seen this growing for a long time now. There are a lot of problems, and of course there are in any scenario. I mean, at the moment we've kind of got, from the perspective of the Sun Elves, humans invaded, murdered their queen, destroyed their home, their city, their holy site, you know, destroyed them. And now humans are sticking around and graciously trying to fix what they broke and telling us what to do and stopping us having our religious rights. It isn't great. The fact that their situation is so dire after 2 years is depressing. My biggest question is, where the frick is the rest of Zadia? Where are all the other elven kingdoms? Humans are helping, and yeah, like technically you could argue humans did it, but the humans who did it are dead or in prison or presumed dead but currently scared of magic. And so you could definitely see for them these humans, but I do think a huge part, and I do think an addendum to that is that I think a huge part of their feelings does also come from the fact that they kind of view humans as less than. Humans were once our inferiors, and now they're here telling us what to do. What? Probably also they are quite a proud people. They're used to being supremely powerful, one of the most powerful kingdoms. You know, when the dragons were having a dispute, a Sun Queen was like, I'll deal with this for you. You know, they are very powerful, and now they're resorting to having to live off charity, and that is hard to swallow in general. And for the humans, I suppose it's just why when these arrogant people help us, and then probably there's that little bit of that old fear of elves, and also that old knowledge that those elves think they're better than us. Fuck them, no they're not. Now the moment in this episode, I truly do believe the camp operator was in the wrong. Not necessarily with being against the flame. I think it obviously was a danger. You could see all those tents if the flames went up. I mean, just how far would it set them all back if the camp burnt to the ground? How many people would die in the chaos? So you could understand where she was coming from, but the way she approached it, I mean, if he had just said, I'm just praying to the gods because I felt a bit sad today, then you might be like, okay, well, go elsewhere and do that. Like, then I could see being more, maybe not referring to it as his superstitions, because I do think you should be respectful of other people's beliefs, but I think, you know, she could have been more dismissive of it because he's doing something that is so clearly against the rules and recklessly endangering the rest of the camp. But when he said, my mother died today and I am guiding her soul to dawn to the other, like, that is when you say, I'm so sorry to have to do this, we need to move this flame, or, you know, this, no one else can do this, we need to have a meeting to make sure no one else ever does this, and we will gather like 100 people here to make sure this flame doesn't catch. You know, you need to be respectful of what he's doing and what he's going through, because it isn't just he wanted to warm his hands up and he made a fire. It isn't that even as simple as just he wanted to pray. There is a very specific and tragic reason for him doing this action. I do think it is a remiss of the Queen and of the higher ups to have not put into place a system where their people can worship and can practice these beliefs safely without being endangering the rest of the camp and without kind of causing this kind of situation. But as it is, she should have handled it with much more care and respect to what he was going through. Some of the people around should have stepped in, should have said, oh, we'll help him with the flame, we'll make sure this doesn't happen again, we'll speak to people, we'll make like, there's a clearing like a mile that way, that will be where we go and do this. Some kind of allowance for it. But this kind of altercation is inevitable, and going out of it, in a way, my biggest fear is that the elf gets punished. Now obviously he lost control and he hurt someone, he severely burnt her hands, that is not a good thing, but I mean, I don't fully know their belief system, but to that young man, his mother's soul was just destroyed and forbidden access to the afterlife. Like, the level of pain he was going through in that moment, of course he lost control and wanted to destroy the bucket that had done that thing. You know, it's almost as though someone had just murdered his mother all over again. Did it excuse his actions? No, but I feel like, yeah, a moment of temporary madness, you get it. But this is going to be yet another, as news of this spreads, the humans, workers, and charity, like volunteers or whatever, they're going to hear an elf attacked our leader, the woman that designed this camp. She did all of this for them, and they attacked her. She can't, her hands are burnt. And the elves are going to hear, did you hear that a human destroyed someone's soul and stopped that religious rite? And it's just not going to go well, and so I'm very stressed about that. I think it is well past time for the Queen and the higher up human representatives to step in, to hold meetings, to try and talk about this situation, because just trying to pretend it's not there and that everything's going to be fine is not working. This was a very good episode. Thank you so much, Alpha, for sponsoring, and thank you for watching.